We have a little different video today. We're gonna go through how gear work in Blade and Soul Neo, going over every single thing from Soul Shield, Weapon, Soul Badge, and Mystic Badge. Real quick, I just want to let everyone know that I do stream Blade and Soul regularly on Twitch, so be sure to follow over there. And of course, if you enjoy these kind of videos, subscribe and let me know what you would like to see in the future. Starting off with Weapon. Weapon have 3 stages, starting off with the base form, which generally is going to come from a dungeon drop, or you can craft them in the transbuild menu with the blueprint. Once you acquire their base form, which is this one, you can evolve them into their awakened form and then finally into their true form. So there are 2 more stages after this, and you can do that by using transformation stones. When you upgrade them, you get more stats, you get more attack power and stuff like that. But this upgrade chance is completely random. So if you click on here, there's a 30% chance to upgrade, and then there's a 70% chance to fail. It's kind of like honing in Lost Art. Every single time you fail though, you get like fail stacks, so the probability will go up until eventually you hit Pity, where you get a 100% chance to upgrade it. Weapon come with 2 stat line like evasion, crit, and stuff like that, and then potentially a soul core slot as well as mantra slot. Mantra slot are like the little stone that you get in here, and I'll talk about what those are a little bit later. If your weapon didn't come with soul core or mantra slot, when you evolve it, there is a chance you'll be able to acquire those slots. So just because the base form doesn't come with it, doesn't mean you can't get it. But keep in mind, it is a chance when you upgrade it. You can see that when you upgrade it, there's an additional enhancement effect as well. These lines don't really matter. In my opinion, they're pretty minor. So for example, on my guildmate's upgraded weapon, you can see there's like a 6 debuff accuracy increase. These lines like do so little things that they don't really matter that much. Soul Core is this slot that go into your weapon. They're basically soul from the heroic bosses. When you beat a heroic dungeon like Tomb of the Exiles or Black Ram Nero, there's a chance you'll get a Soul Core, or if not, you can get Soul Core Crystal that allow you to transmute into them, and then you can just slot them into the weapon. You can also see like every Soul Core has an additional effect. There's like a skills, and then there's a button that's going to pop up in your skills tab, and then you can just click this button to summon the boss soul, and it'll do like an attack or something like that. Soul Core come with a start line, but you can re-roll it with more Soul Core crystals right here, and you can see the full range of stuff you can roll right here. So for example, this one is 42 health regen, but I can offer a Soul Core to re-roll to a different start line, and hopefully I land into something useful. When I come down to start line, other than attack power, which is the main thing, the things to look out for are going to be piercing, accuracy, critical rate, and critical damage. So those are the 4 stat lines you want to have appear on your accessories, weapon, and stuff like that. The other line don't really matter except for in PvP. Accuracy is the least important one, followed by piercing. Accuracy determines if your hit is going to go through or not. So when you hit the enemy, and sometimes you see like a random like evade or block message, that's coming from your accuracy. So enemy has like a random RNG like block or evasion chance, and you want to have 100% accuracy to make sure that every single one of your hit is going through. Because if you do like a big damage skills and the enemy have like an RNG evade, that's gonna feel pretty bad. Piercings is basically ignore enemy defense. So enemy is gonna have a defense value, and your piercings determine how many you can go through. Right now, this is not a big focus because enemy we're facing in our version don't have high defenses. But eventually, in the very later games, piercing is gonna be one of the more important stat line when enemy eventually start to have high defenses. Both accuracy and piercing scale off based on the enemy, so the higher level enemy you'll want more and stuff like that. Critical rate and critical damage on the other hand is like flat, so your critical rate is going to determine how much crit you have. Critical rate, ideally, this is the first stat you want to push for. You want to have around 2,500 to 300, which translates to about 50% critical rate. Crit in this game have a diminishing return, so you don't want to stack too many crit, especially because Assassins or Kung Fu Masters blue buff already give you 40% critical rate, so your sweet spot is 55% critical rate to sit at. The final thing on your weapon that can potentially appear are the Mantra Song slot. I don't have one on this weapon, but I'll show it to you on my accessories. So your weapon or accessories can have like 2 to 3 Mantra Song slot, which are where basically you put these in. But the thing to understand about Mantra Song is that their bonus is very small, so it's not something I would really care or focus on. Basically, the way they work is that if you click at the bottom button here, by putting a specific set of Mantra Song combo, so like you put 3 guns, or like a gun su, or like a gun hey, you can roll one of these random bonuses that do something. And the bonuses is like so small that it's not something I would really care about. Like 10% chance to recover 20% focus on a successful defensive skill is not something I really care about. So this system is kind of like meh. It's kind of something I wouldn't really focus on at all. At best, I would just like put in some gun because they're easy to get just for some small bonus. Accessories work almost identical to weapon, except they have skill slot instead of soul slot. But otherwise, you evolve them the exact same way using transformation stones. They go from their base form to awakening form into their true form. In Blade & Soul Neo, when you click on specific skills, you can see that specific skills have different skill tree. The way you acquire these skill tree is by finding the corresponding books and then putting them onto a specific accessory. So this one, for example, Ankle Biter, is going to be the skill tree for my free button. So you can see this Ankle Biter skills have a specific skill tree that goes down. And specifically, this green one is this one that corresponds to it. So by putting this onto an accessories, I can acquire this specific version of the skills. Something important to know about the skills is that with the latest patch, you can put the skills onto any open skill slot. So when you first click on it, it'll say something like, oh, you have to transfer it to a specific like equipment. This one, like you have to put it on a belt, but you don't actually have to. By first selecting the equipment and then putting on the book, you can put your skills onto any accessories. So this is something to be aware of. After the first one, they will start granting you mastery. So you can see here, there's a skill grant master here. By putting on multiple skill book of the same one, you start earning mastery that increase the damage on your skills even further. On specific cases are gonna be cooldown reduction instead. So if I hover over this skills, you can see that at 4 mastery, this skills additionally have a 1 second cooldown decrease, and then at 12 masteries, this skill have an additional 2 second cooldown decrease. Moving on to Soul Shield. Soul Shield in this game works similar to Artifact from Genshin Impact. There are HP and then 2 random stat line. Once again, it could be like crit or crit damage and stuff like that. In addition to it's a set bonus where if you equip 3 or 5 or 8 pieces from the same set of Soul Shield, you get like a nice bonus. However, compared to equipment like accessories or weapon, you can evolve your Soul Shield by fusing the same piece onto it. So in this case, if I put another exact same slot Soul Shield, you can see that I'm able to take the stat from this Soul Shield and put it onto my base. It only increases the one of the same stat line, so it increases HP, but also in this case, because my base Soul Shield have defense and my offering Soul Shield also have defense, it will increase my defense by a little bit, and this costs you a little bit of wood fragment and some silvers. You can also fuse Primer into Soul Shield to get a third stat line. This does not coincide with the base stat. So the base stat go from 39 and it go up to a maximum of 62. But you can go beyond the max by fusing a Primer on top. So this is basically a third stat line that you can fuse on top of any Soul Shield. You can acquire primers by trading in shield base from the NPCs, and these shield base come from Soul Warden crafting, which is why you need to start booting up your Soul Warden crafting. However, the most important thing to understand about primers is that there's no critical damage primer. You can get critical rate primer, you can get accuracy primer, you can get piercing primer. So if you're ever missing one of these stats, you can just fuse them on with the primers, but there's no critical damage primer. So as a result, the most important base stat line to acquire when you're looking for your Soul Shield is going to be critical damage, because you cannot get critical damage primers. The final thing to understand about equipment is augment. Augment are basically what these like psych are used for. You can put a psych on your pieces and you can get like 2 additional random like little stat and stuff like that. There is a corresponding psych for every single one of the equipment. So if you come to the market, you can see there's a weapon psych, Soul Shield psych, accessory psych. So these go on all the equipment and they all pretty much basically work the same. The thing with augment is that you can choose. So there's going to be a before augment, and then you're going to get 2 new random augment, and you can choose if you want to keep the one before or the one after. This is kind of like cubing from Maple Story. Moving on to Soul Badge. You can acquire Soul Bash by dismantling the corresponding regional outfit. So when you dismantle like a Cinderland outfit, it will give you a Desert Soul Badge, and eventually later when we get Moonwater outfit, you'll get a Moonwater Soul Badge, and then you can trade them in from the merchant right here with the Desert Soul Badge chest. Soul Bash give you a additional damage effect on a specific skills. So in this case, my Fatal Blade will do an additional 415% damage, and they also come with free random stat line. The stat line are kind of fixed into categories, so you can actually reset it by clicking on the reset effect and then using these stuff. So the first category is like accuracy or block or evasion, accuracy obviously being the best. The second line is going to be HP, health regen, or piercing. Piercing obviously being the best, and then either critical rate, critical damage, and then defense. Using the same fragment, you can upgrade your Soul Bash all the way to +10 to increase the star line on them. So we can see exactly here it go from 3 critical rate to 6 critical rate and stuff like that, and it go all the way to +10. Mystic Bash on the other hand are skill modifier. So for example, for this case, it say that after I use Guardian Tempest, which is one of my skills, I can get additional stacks of Rolling Typhoon whenever I get a Rolling Typhoon, I guess. Right? So if I cast my Guardian Tempest, you see there's a small buff that pop up. And for the next like 3 seconds, I'll basically get additional stacks of Rolling Typhoon, which is going to be on my right click is a specific like skills right here. You can acquire Mystic Badge powders by dismantling premium outfits, which are the one you get from the Hongmen store. So for example, the founder pack, you can see this one gives 200 Mystic Badge powders, and you can trade those powder in for fragment right here. Once again, similar to the Soul Bash, you can evolve these all the way to +10 for additional stat line. The final two things to cover is Insignia and Gallery. Insignia is pretty straightforward. They're kind of like runes from the original League of Legends. You can acquire these from the level 45 Mushin Tower solo dungeon. The only thing that matters in here is to put attack power. So the only runes you put in is just attack power all the way, and that's really it. Finally, Gallery is like the card set. By acquiring specific set of cards, you can get a specific effect. There's a lot of card set in this game, and by basically registering your card into a specific set, you can activate the corresponding effect by paying the bond activation. So for example, I can activate this effect by using free bond, and you get up to 10 bond right here. So you see like 3 more of these light up. And then I'm able to acquire the stat here, as well as this very specific effect that give me free X critical hit on a random chance. So every time I hit an enemy, there's a chance I can trigger that buff right here. The next free hit will be critical hit. So let me re-trigger, and then 1, 2, 3. Those, oh, the buff ran out, but those free hits are going to be guaranteed critical hit. So it's a really good buff. You can acquire a card by doing a lot of things in the game. A lot of people are aiming for the Diva card by farming the Diva boss because it comes from the wheels. It's one of the reward, and of course dungeon also drop card. But you can also acquire card by fusing existing card. So by putting in like 5 card from the same region, you can acquire a level higher card. Like by putting in 5 green card, I can get like a blue card randomly. Card is one of those things that is shared across all your characters. So when your ults get like a card, you can actually use it on your main. So because of that, a lot of people like to make card farming ults, where their entire job is to basically just farm the boss over and over with their energy, and then they hope to get the card on their ult so that their main don't have to waste energy farming their card on that. Don't forget to leave a like and comment below about what you'd like to see next, and I'll see you guys all next time.